This week, the SEC has just waged war on the Bitcoin and the crypto industry by suing the two largest exchanges in the space. Of course, we're talking about Binance and we are talking about Coinbase. And despite what everybody believes, I actually think this could be bullish for Bitcoin. I know. Before you call me crazy, let's look at a few charts and a little bit of data that will make my thesis make a little bit more sense, okay? So I'm going to quickly share my screen here. I'm going to show you a chart of the crypto market cap. We can see that this puppy has lost over $5 billion in the past 24 hours, and the market cap of Binance has also lost over $5 billion, and this is an enormous amount of capital has fleed out of the actual system, okay? For me to actually give you guys a little bit of a visual demonstration of just how bad this capital flight has been, I would have to grab this puppy right here, my magic money printer. I would fill it up with $100 bills, and I would have to sit here and fire this thing for literally 7 days straight to actually get to a $5 billion outflow. That's how bad the outflow has been in the crypto market. And it gets even worse than that, even worse than a $100 bill on my head. These exchanges are absolutely pivotal for the crypto space. I want to show you guys just how many coins they are actually holding on their exchanges. So we can see here from this really snazzy little chart that Coinbase holds 25% of the all of the available supply on exchanges today. So there's 2.1 million Bitcoins sitting on exchanges today. Coinbase has 25% of that. And we can also see that Binance holds around 22% of the total supply. Both of these exchanges hold over 500,000 Bitcoin on their exchanges. So it would go without saying that most people believe that if these exchanges went bankrupt, it would be devastating for the crypto industry, but I'm going to explain why I disagree with that throughout today's video. I wanted to quickly highlight just how catastrophic this collapse has been recently. This is showing the largest withdrawals out of Binance, and we can see over the past 24 hours, over 10,000 Bitcoin has actually been withdrawn out of Binance. And this is the largest collapse, or the largest bank run, I should say, since the FTX collapse all the way back in November 2022. So now let's move on and start talking about Ripple and them getting sued by the SEC, because I believe this will give us some hints and some clues for potentially what could happen with this Coinbase and Binance bankruptcy, or should we say lawsuit that is currently going on. So we can see here that Ripple got sued this was 2020, and this was actually December. So if I were to pull up a chart of Ripple, and I've got a little snazzy arrow here pointing to 2020, you can see that in the short term, the price of Ripple was actually affected by this SEC lawsuit. But you can kind of see in the long term, the price of Ripple has kind of reflected the same price action of most cryptocurrencies. It's been flat since 2021, okay? Obviously, we had that massive big parabolic bull run in late 2021, but if you were to take an average from the beginning to 2021, obviously the price is relatively flat and it hasn't really changed a lot. And that is going to be helpful in talking about where we are in today's market cycle, okay? I actually think eventually you're going to get to a stage of the market cycle where supply and demand is more important than these announcements, okay? We're going to explain why a little bit later on when we start talking about China and Hong Kong's secret crypto plan. But I want to first remember you guys just how big the 2022 wipeout of capital was, okay? Obviously, we saw Celsius. That was a $3 billion exchange, absolutely blow up. Hex, $75 billion of capital lost in that puppy. And of course, let's not forget Luna and UST. With those two combined, they lost over $60 billion of market cap. And a lot of people say, okay, Luke, what comes next? If this is going to be bullish for Bitcoin, you need to tell me how this is going to actually affect the wider markets. And the reason I think it's going to be bullish for Bitcoin is because all of your Bitcoin companies are just simply going to do what Coinbase is doing right now. So Coinbase has actually come out and they've said, look, we're going to start looking into these offshore exchanges. So while the US actually attacks Coinbase and all of these other crypto exchanges in what many people are calling Operation Choke Point 2.0, I expect all of these exchanges to go overseas. So this article here shows that Gemini and Coinbase are moving overseas. And look at the date, very important, That one is May 2nd, 2023. And we can also see from this other article, Coinbase is looking into launching an international exchange. Again, look at the date, 2nd of May 2023. This announcement by the SEC should not come as any surprise, okay? The writing's been on the wall throughout 2022 and 2023. This other article, Coinbase, the CEO, Brian Armstrong, was just in the UAE saying, hey, look, we would love to set up offices over here in all throughout the United Arab Emirates. And we can see from this article on the 9th of May, again, notice that timeline, that was only 3 weeks ago, Coinbase was set to open a UAE-based crypto market from Dubai, okay? So I believe that all of these, exchanges and businesses are simply going to go offshore, okay? We can also see here from a tweet thread that I popped out last week that Hong Kong has interestingly come out and said, look, we want to actually be a crypto hub for the world. And that shocked most people because Hong Kong is obviously controlled by China, and China banned Bitcoin in 2021. But I think it's awfully interesting that we still have all of this hash rate that has mysteriously popped up in the borders of China 3 months after that ban in 2021. We're going to talk about China a little bit later on, but I want to show you just how bullish a positive or even a neutral China could be for Bitcoin, as well as the whole broader digital asset ecosystem. I'm only focused on Bitcoin. I think it's the only one that can actually withstand these nation state level and regulatory attacks in the long run. But anyway, we want to have a look here. So when China actually came out and they said, look, we're actually considering being really bullish with Bitcoin, let's remember what they did to the price in 2019, okay? So I can remember back in the day, I got pretty euphoric when this announcement came out. We can see here by this headline that an announcement by President Xi on Friday said that the country would be investing heavily in Bitcoin's underlying technology. Of course, there's that buzzword, blockchain. And we can see what that did to the price of Bitcoin. I want to once again try to show you guys another one of these charts that I have pulled up. I'm sorry if this is not the best view. This is the first time of me trying to do a live stream. So if I make a mistake, let me know. If my maths in the start of the video was not correct, let me know in the comments down below and run the numbers for yourself. I would love to know, but I hope you guys can see what I can see. Here on the chart, I have a little green box circled. And when China made that announcement in late 2019, the price of Bitcoin pumped by 30% in literally 2 days, okay? It was an enormous rally, okay? This kind of makes sense the more you think about it, because China is the largest nation state in the world. So for them to come out and actually posture themselves as being positive, neutral, or even bullish on Bitcoin and the other buzzwords that they use, such as crypto and blockchain, this could be a really bullish catalyst for Bitcoin. But I want to really talk about this 2019 China Bitcoin pump a little bit more, because it didn't come out of the blue, okay? By, late 2019, Bitcoin had been in a long period of decline for around 18 months, okay? We had that massive blow off top. Bitcoin rallied to 20,000 in 2017. Bitcoin crashed 85%, and we put in that bottom in 2018. And the price of Bitcoin was slowly starting to grind up. As you have exhausted all of the sellers, eventually any kind of bad news that is thrown at Bitcoin gets eaten up pretty quickly by the market, because there is simply no sellers left, okay? Remember earlier we were talking a little bit about supply and demand. I want to show you guys a couple more charts that I've thrown out there this week in another tweet thread I did looking at El Salvador, because obviously yesterday marked the historic 2-year anniversary for when El Salvador's president, Nayib Bukele, made that announcement at Bitcoin Miami 2021 on June 5th. And he said, I'm going to become the first nation state to actually adopt Bitcoin and make Bitcoin legal tender. So I did a little tweet thread on this yesterday, and I said, I believe that announcement exactly 2 years ago started what I am calling is the nation state race. You've heard lots of people talk about this in the Bitcoin space before. Max Kaiser popularized the term hash wars or the hash race. And we can kind of see here, I was making the case that there's some data in the Bitcoin markets that is suggesting that this cycle could, in fact, be different. Yes, I know, before you call me crazy, hear me out, have a look at my data. In this tweet thread, I showed that this is the first bear market where Bitcoin is making parabolic all-time highs after all-time highs, despite it being in a bear market. I thought that was strange. I thought that was a little bit interesting. And I also think it's even more interesting that for the first time in Bitcoin's life, we are actually watching a supply suffocation. Yes, that's right. If you have a look at the chart here, we can see that the amount of Bitcoins sitting on exchanges is currently at a 5-year low. Okay, it is enormous. We can see that this trend actually changed in March of 2020. This is interesting. We're going to come back to this later. I call 2020 the year that everything changed, and I actually call it the monetary chasm. But you can see here, coins on exchanges peaked out in March 2020 at around 3.1 million coins on exchanges. And since then, we have watched an absolute perpetual downtrend in the amount of Bitcoins available for sale on exchanges. So today, there is only 2.1 million Bitcoins sitting on the exchange for sale. So it has to, you have to ask yourself the question, we've never seen this kind of supply suffocation in Bitcoin's whole 14-year life. We haven't seen it, okay? We've never seen a 3-year trend of coins leaving exchanges. So you have to ask yourself, who is taking those coins off exchanges? And you also have to ask yourself, who is plugging in all of those Bitcoin miners? And why are all of China's neighbors currently secretly mining Bitcoin? So obviously, if you didn't see our recent video, we did a video showing how one of China's neighbors called Bhutan actually got exposed in the Celsius and the BlockFi bankruptcy filings for secretly buying hundreds of millions of dollars of Bitcoin. And they also came out recently and said, look, that's right. You caught us. We've been buying Bitcoin for the past 3 years, but we've also been mining Bitcoin since 2019 when Bitcoin was under $5,000 a pop. And we have also actually come out recently, and we're going to invest another $500 million into Bitcoin mining. So I find all of that really interesting. And I believe we are actually watching Southeast Asia as well as all of other Chinese neighbors such as Indonesia, Laos, and Bhutan secretly posture themselves as being a bullish Bitcoin location for the world. So that is why I think this could potentially be bullish for Bitcoin. If you want to learn more about why I believe Southeast Asia and China has a secret Bitcoin plan, you can check out the video right here. And with all that said, guys, I will see you all in another video, and hopefully it could be a live stream. See you guys.